Alright, the airport build is finally coming together. I'm starting by adding some floor plants, benches, and rugs around the terminal. These small details are making the airport feel much more realistic. Now I'm adding trash cans, more seating, and decorations to fill up the empty spaces. Step by step, this airport is starting to look like a real modern airport. And we're still not done yet. There's a lot more to build. Now it's time to add some proper lighting to the airport. These lights are going to make the whole terminal feel brighter and more modern. Next, I'm adding some pillars to give the building a stronger and more realistic structure. I'm also working on the walls and adding more pillars around the area. Now let's add a rug to make the floor look more detailed. And over here, I'm placing some traffic cones to make the airport feel more realistic. We've also got an ice cream area going in, with a table for passengers to sit and enjoy. And finally, I'm adding some trash cans around the terminal to keep everything looking clean. These little details are really starting to transform the airport. It's slowly looking more and more like a real modern airport. Now I'm adding a few more tables around the airport. I'm also placing some rugs to make the area feel more detailed. And finally, I'm adding trash cans to keep the terminal clean and realistic. Now I'm adding more pillars to the terminal to give it a stronger look. Next, I'm installing some lighting to brighten up the area. I'm also adding airport signs and ventilation systems to make the terminal feel more realistic. These details are really bringing the airport to life. Now I'm adding more lighting around the airport to make the whole area brighter. Next, I'm placing some pillars and finishing up the walls to give the terminal a more complete look. I'm also adding a fountain and some benches for the passengers to relax. And of course, I'm adding more lights around the area. Finally, I'm working on the walls again to finish this section of the airport. This place is looking better with every upgrade. Now I'm adding more pillars around the terminal to make the structure feel complete. Next, I'm placing some ropes to create a proper passenger queue. I'm also finishing up the walls and building the security checkpoint. Then I'm adding some floor plants to make the area feel more welcoming. And finally, I'm placing more pillars to finish this section of the airport. This terminal is starting to look seriously realistic. Now I'm adding more pillars and finishing up the walls around this section. Then I'm adding another set of pillars and walls to complete the terminal area. Next, we're building the baggage reclaim area, where passengers can collect their luggage after landing. This is really starting to look like a proper airport terminal. Now I'm setting up the ropes to create proper passenger lines. Next, I'm adding a desk and some security gates for the checkpoint. I'm also placing more pillars around the area to complete the structure. And finally, I'm finishing up the baggage reclaim area for passengers to collect their luggage. This airport is really starting to feel like a real terminal. Now I'm adding some floor plants to make the terminal feel more welcoming. Next, I'm finishing the walls and adding more pillars around the area. I'm also adding some decorations to bring the space to life. After that, I'm working on another section of the wall and adding a set of stairs. Finally, I'm placing some chairs for passengers to sit and relax. Now I'm building the walkway to connect everything together. Next, I'm adding 2 sets of stairs for easy access around the airport. And now it's time to work on the runways. I'm building the first runway, and right next to it, we've got runway number 2. This airport is getting bigger and better with every step. Now it's time to add the plane to the airport. I'm also adding some stairs so passengers can easily get on and off the plane. Next, I'm working on the exterior and adding some lamps around the area. I'm also setting up a small fitness area with a barbell bench press and some yoga mats. And finally, I'm adding a rug to complete the space. Now I'm adding some ropes to organize the area. Next, I'm placing a few floor plants to make the space feel more welcoming. I'm also adding a couch with a rug and a coffee table to create a comfortable seating area. Now I'm adding 3 sets of stairs to connect the different areas of the airport. Next, I'm setting up 2 ordering stations for passengers. I'm also adding ropes to organize the lines and keep everything neat. And now we're building the pizza kitchen with all the equipment needed to prepare the pizzas. Now I'm adding a couch with a rug to create a nice seating area. Next, I'm setting up the hot dog station with some fresh hot dogs. And finally, I'm adding signs around the area to make everything easier to find. This airport is getting better with every little detail. Now I'm adding a support pillar to make this section feel more complete. Next, I'm building a pony wall to separate the area and give it a cleaner look. And now I'm placing 4 benches for passengers to sit and relax. These small details are making the airport feel much more realistic. Now I'm adding more pillars around the airport to strengthen the structure. I'm placing them carefully along the walls to make everything look more complete. These pillars are giving the terminal a much more realistic and modern look. Now I'm adding a bench, a trash can, and some floor plants to finish this area. It's looking much better already. Now I'm adding another bench for passengers to sit and relax. Next, I'm finishing the wall and adding more pillars around the area. I'm also placing a trash can and some floor plants to make the terminal feel cleaner and more welcoming. These little details are really bringing the airport to life. I'm also placing a trash can nearby to keep the area clean. Finally, I'm adding some floor plants to bring a little more life into the space. Now I'm adding more pillars around the airport to complete the structure. Next, I'm installing some lighting to brighten up this section of the terminal. I'm also placing a few floor plants to make the area feel more welcoming. And finally, I'm adding the rebirth machine, which is going to be an important part of this airport. I'm also placing some floor plants to add more detail and make the space feel welcoming. And now, I'm setting up the rebirth machine. This is a pretty cool addition to the airport, and it makes this area feel much more interesting. Everything is slowly coming together, and this airport is looking better with every upgrade. And that's it for this part. If you're enjoying the airport build, make sure to like, subscribe, and share the video. We're not done yet, so stay tuned for the next part. I'll see you there.